Hi everyone, my name is Çınar. I am a data scientist and AI engineer, and this is my first video in English. I am really excited and a bit nervous because English is not my native language, but I know it will get better with time. I hope we can learn and grow together. Let's get started, and I wish all of us great success. Welcome back. Today we are going to talk about data source, CSV, Excel and Parquet. These are things we all use, but most of the time we don't really stop and think about why we are using one over the other. So, instead of staying abstract, I will just generate some data and work directly in the code. First of all, I want to create a Jupyter notebook and open some code cells. Okay. Data source.ipinb and code cells. Before saving anything, I obviously need some data. In real projects, this might come from a database or an API, but here I just want something simple and reproducible. So I am going to generate a synthetic dataset just to focus on the file formats, not data collection. Alright, let's start. Here I am going to importing make classification from scikit-learn, and I will use it to quickly generate a dataset. And from scikit-learn datasets import make classification. Okay, and I am going to importing pandas spd because I want to work with a data frame. Import pandas spd. Okay, all the file formats we will look at today make the most sense when data is tabular. Now we can run. Okay. Yes. I define x and y, and I am calling make classification method, and I'm going to define important parameters. First of all, ensamples equal 10,000 ensamples number of rows, 10,000 enough for us, and features number of features, and n classes 2 is enough for now, binary classification, and random state 1. Yes, it looks nice. Here I am generating a dataset with 10,000 rows and 5 numeric features. I am using a binary target just to keep things simple, and I am setting a random state so the data stays the same every time I run this. That's all I need for now. Okay, run. Now I am going to converting everything into a pandas data frame. Def pd nokta data frame and x and columns equal and one list f string feature I, and I need a for loop for I in range 1 to 6. Okay, and df target equal y. Okay, I am explicitly naming the attribute columns so they are easy to read, and here I have added the target column. Nothing complicated, I'm just preparing the data. Let's check the div. Okay, div dot height. Nice. Everything looks fine. Alright, now we can move on to actual topic. Okay. Now let's create the data file for our datas. Nice. I am going to start with CSV. This is usually the default choice. When people just want to save data and move on, this is what they use. Okay. Here, I am going to saving the data frame as a CSV file. Okay, div dot to CSV. After that, data1 dot CSV. Okay, and index false. I am using index false because the index doesn't add any value here. And CSV is simple, lightweight, and human readable. Nice. We can run. Okay. Because datas. Okay. Okay, I will read it back quickly. How data1 pd dot read CSV, and I'm gonna give the path. Okay, quick check. Yes, it works fine, but pandas has to infer data types every time. Alright, let's move on. Now, let's look at Excel. Technically, it is not a great data format, but in practice, a lot of people still use it. Okay. Now, I am going to saving the same data as an Excel file. Okay. Div dot to Excel and data2 dot xlsx and index false. Okay, we can run, or yes, now I am going to read the Excel data. Data2 pd dot read Excel, and I'm gonna give the path. Okay, Now check the div. Works fine. And for small datasets, Excel is okay. But once the file gets large, performance and stability become an issue. So Excel is mostly about sharing, not production. Now let's talk about Parquet. If you are working with data pipelines or production systems, this one should look familiar. Okay, and I am going to saving the data frame as a Parquet file, div to Parquet, same, and data tree dot Parquet. Okay, we can run. Yes, it works fine. The code looks very similar, but the storage format is completely different. Okay, reading it back. Okay. Data array, pandas, read, parquet, and pet. Okay, let's check diff. Nice. Parquet stores data column by column, which makes it much more efficient for analytical workloads. This is usually the best choice in productions. When I am prototyping, I care about speed and simplicity. CSV is usually enough there. And in production, performance, scalability, and cost matter much more. That's why Parquet is often the better choice. Finally, in summary, same data, different formats. CSV, Excel, and Parquet store the same data, but each one is used for a different purpose. Choosing the right format helps you use your data better. Thanks for watching. See you in the next video.